Start today with Kari Lake and a crazy video that she reposted of one of her supporters, presumably, going in front of a Maricopa County meeting, right, where citizens are allowed to go up and air their grievances. And this guy, I guess, thinks he's giving some incredible revolutionary speech or something. At the end, you'll see the beginning, he tries to stay calm and then goes absolutely nuts. So, and if I'm not mistaken, we've seen this guy before at one of these types of meetings in the past that went viral. But again, remember, Kari Lake, the losing gubernatorial candidate who's lost already, who's saying we got to fight this till the bitter end, reposted this video. Okay.
Good morning. Once again, the eyes of the world are upon Maricopa County for another botched election. Am I here to accuse you of stealing the vote? Heavens no, for that would make me a terrorist, wouldn't it? Let me ask you, if you took your life savings to a bank and the teller put them in a machine and the machine kicked out 1 out of 4 of your bills and the teller said, "Don't worry, we'll put them in box 3 over here and we'll let you know how many were in there later. We'll send them off to a separate location and someone will be sure to get back to you and tell you how much money you have." Would you be okay with that? No, you
following so far?
Would not be okay with that. Now ask yourself the question, which is more valuable, your vote or your money? Now ask a lobbyist that same question. Now ask a campaign manager that question. Now ask Mark Zuckerberg that question, which is more valuable, your money or your vote or your country or this world or the corruption that is taking over every single county in this nation? And then you look into your own soul and you look back at yourself in the mirror and realize that you are the cancer that is tearing this nation apart. Good day.
True that. No, I'm kidding. Not at all. That's absolutely wild. So this is what we see, okay? Leaders such as Kari Lake put out information knowing that it's false. She is perfectly intelligent enough to look into the details of the claims she's making and realize that they're not accurate at all. But she benefits from her followers believing that the election was indeed stolen. And so she continues to perpetuate those lies. And then dudes like that take it seriously and aren't able to figure out why these are lies. And I genuinely believe, I don't doubt for a second, that he actually believes the things he's saying, as outrageous or incoherent as they are, the few things I could even derive from what he just said there. And this is how we get in a very dangerous place. It was funny too, he was using like his, I went and listened to the top 10 most influential speeches from, you know, the 19th century YouTube video, and to learn how to give speeches like that. It was very strange. So yeah, that's that. But Kari Lake continues forward despite the danger of her previous actions, and she's stoking that fear, causing the rage among her followers when they genuinely believe, they don't get that this is all just a huge grift on her part. They genuinely believe the election was stolen. That's why dear Kari Lake lost, and that's why Trump lost. And when you actually believe something like that, you become very, very dangerous and threatening in many ways, as we've seen before. But here's her putting that information out once again.
Tens of thousands of you have reached out, pleading with me to fight this fight.
Maybe because you told them that they were supposed to. That's another thing they'll do. I hear y'all's voices. You're saying you think it was stolen, so we're going to look into that. But they believe that because you told them that. Goof.
Rest assured, I will. Because if we give up now, we will no longer have a country.
So that's very similar rhetoric there. And that's why I'm really worried that Trump was using in the build-up to January 6th, saying you won't have a country anymore if you don't fight this, if we don't fight this to the bitter end. Here is the victor of the Arizona gubernatorial race, Katie Hobbs, speaking out, of course, against these types of claims.
Like, do you have a message for your opponent who keeps spreading these election denial conspiracies, much as, you know, the former president did? She's doing it locally as he is doing it nationally. That will also affect how you govern and your legislative agenda, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm not focused on what my former opponent is doing. I'm focused on all the things we need to do to get ready to lead on day one of my administration. But this kind of political rhetoric, these false accusations, they need to stop, because many people across the state of Arizona and across the country are being misled by these so-called political leaders, and their rhetoric is dangerous, and it's leading to threats and violence, and it needs to stop.
Absolutely. It is going to promote very dangerous actions, but do not fear. Katie Hobbs will indeed become the next governor of Arizona, despite the claims of many people. Last thing to add on to this, close ally of Steve Bannon campaigned with Kari Lake, or I should say close ally of Kari Lake, Steve Bannon, who campaigned with her and all these things, is now saying that long lines are absolutely voter suppression. But wait. It was the left saying all of these laws that are being passed in Republican states to make it harder to vote, making it more inconvenient, are voter suppression, especially because they target certain areas that they think will help them politically. And y'all said, long lines simply, aren't voter suppression, you sensitive liberal. Just wait in line if you want to vote so bad. And now they've flipped their tune on this. Now, Steve, if you're really serious about this, then you should get on board with a whole lot of progressive action to expand access to voting and expand voting rights instead of restricting it.
So, people don't have time to wait 3.5 hours or 2.5 hours in line. And when they see it, that's absolute in-your-face voter suppression. So
it's so ironic and it's so hypocritical because, again, specifically in Georgia, when Stacey Abrams and the movement around her was calling out the bad law that was getting passed, saying this is going to make it more difficult, more inconvenient for people to vote. One of the ways they do that is to try to enhance how many long lines there are in areas that vote heavily Democratic. Often they target Black and brown communities for that purpose. And they would always laugh it off and say, okay, really long lines, that's voter suppression. And now that's their line, which is hilarious. Again, unserious, all he means is boo-hoo-hoo, Kari Lake lost, and that hurts my fee-fees. I can't take it anymore. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.